Hey guys, this is Chodaros Designs, and I'd like to show you how to make the vintage frost bracelet. It's an original design of mine, and this is not it. This is actually using the vintage frost bracelet and then incorporating one of Suzanne HB's designs on the outside. So, but I don't know where my original vintage frost bracelet went, so I just have that one to kind of show you. So my idea was, Suzanne is really great at creating really awesome bracelets around a single chain. So I figured we've already put beads in the single chain, we've already done chains in the single chain, so it would be nice to put rhinestones in that single chain and then do one of her designs around that. So just real quick, I'll just show you the different kinds that I have. All of these ones that you see here that are cut, these were bought like this, okay? And I bought these at Hobby Lobby craft store. You can find them online if you don't have one close to you, but you can find these really anywhere. And you can find them, so well, these ones here, they're already made this size to fit your wrist, okay? And they have this little loop at the end because they're made for you to put a clasp on the end of it. So it's just an unfinished bracelet. And then you can find rhinestone cup chain is what these are called. So you can find ones that are, this came actually on like a spool. So it comes, you know, wrapped up on a spool. And so if you find a kind like this that you'd want to use, then you would just basically take it, and I like to make mine, well, actually I would loom the bracelet first and then I would cut it. But we have these tools. These are, you know, a jewelry cutting tool. So it is specifically made for jewelry, but you would just simply go in between one of whatever length you're ready to cut and just cut it, and it's not going to fall out because this is, it's called a cup chain or cup link because you can technically buy this without the rhinestones, and then you can go and find the rhinestones separately and then put them inside these prongs. Okay, so that's one kind. You can also do this design on a bracelet that is already a bracelet. It doesn't have to be on a string like this. It can actually be done on a bracelet, so you don't have to cut it. If you want to cut it, which I'm going to cut this one just to show you. So you see this one is made for it to be close together, okay? They're not far apart, the lengths like this. So if I didn't want this like this, I would simply just take it, and if you're under 18, please get your parents' permission to use tools or have them help you because they can be dangerous. So I would just take it apart like this, and I would just cut this like that, okay? Now, I didn't actually cut through that metal part, but what I did do is there is a rubber band inside of here, or a elastic string. And you can kind of, I can pull this out to show you, or not. Oh wait, here it is. That's what's causing your bracelet to have the elasticity. That's it, not the cup chain. Just this piece of elastic string that they put inside here. So if you do just kind of snip it like I did, where you didn't cut the metal, oh, I keep cutting that, that's why I can't grab it. And you want it to stay together. Here, let me grab my snips. Okay, these are just bead holders, I call them. So you can just pull that rubber band out. And the further along you get, you can pull this chain apart. And now it's not, there isn't any tension on it. Okay, because we just cut that rubber band, and you just simply grab it from one end and just pull, just to get it out of there. So it's not a difficult task. But if you did want to cut it, you would just take snips, wire snips, and you can cut right through that, like that. So even though I cut it where this end has no end at all, it's not going to fall apart. And then with this one, you can leave that on there, or see it'll slide up in there. Okay, so we just took a completed bracelet that was had tension, and we just cut it and loosened it. So that's just an option as well. I'm always big on you guys, if you have stuff in your jewelry boxes and you don't wear anymore, or that kind. Okay, so I think I'm going to take this gold one here, and I do want to cut it. I'd rather cut it. Alright, and this one's obviously, it's going to be bigger than my wrist because this one had that tension on it, and with it all squeezed together, it was the size of my wrist. So let's get these out of the way. And the beginning part is the only difficult part of this bracelet. It is difficult because we're trying to start it and we have nothing to hold, really. Okay, so bear with me if it doesn't work out how I plan. But sticky bands are going to work the best, obviously, because we need something to stick to this and to help us loom it. The first one I made with LE bands, and I loved it. So the thicker the band, the more it's going to hide that cup chain in between. So you want to take your band and you want to squeeze it in half. And you want to put it behind that first rhinestone, between the first and second rhinestone. And this part, it's just to get it started. You have to kind of hold everything in place kind of tight. Okay, so we're going to stick our hook in that first spot and the second spot, and then you want to do a slip knot. Okay, and you just want to make sure that slip knot ends up in between the first. All right, sorry about that. So we want to make a slip knot, and we want to pull it tight. Okay, this isn't how I started the bracelet. I originally didn't do this, but in order to teach it, it seemed to be the easiest way I could think of to teach how to do it. Okay, so once you have your slip knot and you have it pulled tight, we want to act like this band isn't in a slip knot. So we're just going to take it and we're going to pinch it behind the two rhinestones again to give it two sides, because we want to go back and we want to put our hook through this side and that side. All right, and you gotta hold it, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. It shouldn't be that loose because we put that slip knot in there, and that's the whole point, just for the beginning. So once you have your hook, and your hook is sitting in between the first and second rhinestone, you want to take another rubber band and slide it under the two loops on your hook. Okay, so that rubber band, I'm just taking my hook off just to show you. This is what you should have so far. Okay, and this is actually being really nice for me right now. It's easy because, and they're not sliding all over the place because I'm using these black Simplicity, I think. They're the really dark black silicone bands. So now that we have this band through here, what we want to do is you do want to take your hook out, because you want to face your hook and you want to grab these bands behind this cup chain. So I put my hook on this side, take it behind this cup chain, and put my hook on the other side. Okay? You want to do that where you still have your hook behind the first and second rhinestone. Okay? Once you have your hook in there, behind where you have to do this behind. Once you're behind, then you can pull your hook up where you're in between the second and third now. Okay? So then you grab a band, and then you're going to stick that band behind your cup chain through those 2 loops on your hook. Okay, so our goal is to make sure that we have a band covering each part of those cup chains, the link. So it's just a weaving process. So now that I have that band put through, I want to grab it, both ends, in the front of my chain. And it is in between the 2nd and 3rd rhinestone, like that. And then I want to grab a band, and I want to pull another one through like this. Okay? And now, staying where you're in between the 2nd and 3rd rhinestone, you want to take your hook out and you want to turn it around, so that way you're grabbing those 2 loops behind the 2nd and 3rd rhinestone. Do not move your hook up. Okay? Once you're behind the 2nd and 3rd rhinestone, then, see, this is why I'm trying my best to explain it. If you move your hook up too early, you're going to split it, and you don't want that. You want both of those bands to stay in between. Once you're between the 2nd and 3rd rhinestone behind, then you pull your hook up to that empty space there. Okay? And then you want to pull another band through. So it's basically a weaving process of pulling a band through the front, then the back, the front, then the back. Okay? So we moved our hook up to be between the 3rd and 4th rhinestone, and it's our next in line for being an empty space. You want to take your next band and pull that one through. So every time we pull a band through the front, that's the band that's going to cover that metal part in between your rhinestones. And then we have to turn our hook so we can grab the band exactly straight behind. Okay? Once you have that band on your hook behind, then you can pull it up to the next space in line, and then pull your band through those 2 loops. And once we're there, then we can go ahead and close up in front. Okay? So you can see that's a little bit jumbled. We can fix that at the end, but it's just going in, out, behind, front, behind, and front. It's not difficult. I think I have more of a difficult time trying to explain it because I have to put my fingers in front of everything so I can loom it. I don't want you guys to get confused. Alright, so we started over. Step 1 was putting that band in between the rhinestones. And you take your hook out, reposition it so you can grab that band, go behind that chain and grab the other side of the band, staying exactly where we were in the front. Once we have that done, then we can pull our hook up to the next spot and place our band through those 2 loops behind the chain. And then to reconnect, we're just simply going exactly straight in front, like that. Okay? And then we're grabbing our next band, and this is the band that's going to cover that space in between your rhinestones. So then take your hook out, grab it, go behind the chain, and grab the other end, making sure that you are in between those 2. Then you can slide your hook up like that and add your next band, looping it behind the chain, and then pulling them together in the front of the chain. Okay? So now that we have it started, it's a lot faster. You can go a lot quicker because it's holding in place. Okay? And this is a loose stitch bracelet. It's not, and it also very, very, very much depends on what type of band you use. If you're using the LE band, it's going to slide, and it's not sticky, so it's not really going to hold in between the rhinestones as much. This one, because these are super sticky silicone bands, it holds perfectly in between those spaces of the rhinestones. Oh, a rhinestone actually fell out. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker. I really like these bands. I think they're really nice because they're super dark. And my goal has always been to make a bracelet not look like rubber band bracelet. So that's why you always see me use these dark, dull colors. But I have never just, anytime I've ever added jewelry to a bracelet, I have never weaved it in. It has always been loomed in, like in some way, shape, or form. That's how you can tell who the new blingers are and who the old ones are. The old ones follow the way I did it, like me and Artisan Loom, and well, I always say Artisan Loom because she started blinging when I did. You'll notice she always puts her bling on before she looms. And that's how I did it. But these new innovative loomers are doing it after some of the steps are loomed. Okay, so this is what you should have. Like I said, it's not a difficult stitch. If you look on the side, you have somewhat of a single chain, and the purpose, like I said, of this bracelet is to create a chain effect, so then we can add some of these designs, like I said, Suzanne HB, Herbaceous, the Ancestry. She has all these great designs out that she uses just a plain old rubber band single chain. So instead of using that, we could possibly just use this and still incorporate the same good look. Okay, so hopefully I did an okay job explaining. I want to make sure that you guys have that concept. So if you want, wow, there's like a lot of them missing. Look at that. So if you want, go ahead and you can stitch up some more, and then we can also meet back here shortly and close it up. Okay, so at this point we have our bracelet to the desired length, and if you notice some of your bands kind of trying to hide a rhinestone coming up between, you could just take your finger and your thumb on both sides and pinch it and kind of pull out just to make sure that they're in there. But it is made to be, it is a loose stitch, and I wanted it to be a loose stitch because we're going to be grabbing, you could wear it like this obviously, but if we're going to be stitching a bracelet using the chain up the side, that's essentially what's going to keep everything in place too. So you want to have that, and you're not compromising this part of the bracelet. So I ended right here where, I ended right here where my band is in the front, okay? So I want to hold where the last stitch was done right there, and then I just want to basically just do a slip knot. And I want to make that tight. Okay? So typically when I would do one of these bracelets, I would usually do them right with these kind, and they have that little hole there. And so I would just stick a band through there, stick a band through here, and then close it up. So with this one, you know, I just want you to, you know, you can be imaginative and create your own clothes, but what I do is just kind of rig it where I can put a C-clip on it. There it is. And it's not an eyesore, but to me, I'm not big on closings because that should always be behind your wrist so nobody sees it. So maybe shame on me, but all right, so I kind of got that C-clip behind there so you can't see it. And then you can just come, well, see, I have to, I'm not going to cut this one because I want to make sure whatever I'm going to use it for, oh, the heck with it, I will cut it. Okay, so then you can just take your C-clip and then just attach it. I like to attach it to that band that we had the slip knot on. And I'd still have to get the other side, but I think you get the clue or the picture. Just a regular C-clip close. And there you have your vintage frost bracelet. Okay, so again, this is how this bracelet started out. That's the center of the bracelet. And then, you know, these are all like a single chain. So then you would just go in and just loom up your bands. There's a ton of videos on Suzanne HP's website, or YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. There's just a ton of bracelets out there that she has created and others that use a single chain, so you can replace it with this one. So thank you for joining me. I hope it was clear enough. I really want you guys to be able to make it and not be frustrated. But please hashtag your renditions because I super want to see them. So again, thanks for watching and tune in for next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.